The crypto market has entered a very interesting position. Of course, on the one side, we've got ourselves the macro. We've got ourselves the interest rate numbers coming out over the next few days that everybody will be watching and many people will be trading. But more importantly, in crypto itself, what exactly is going on and which numbers are we watching? Well, on the short term, we're actually taking a good look at the max pain points. This, for Bitcoin, Solana, ETH, XRP, is actually something quite interesting, specifically when you take a look at it over multiple different time frames. For example, over a 24-hour period, you'll see a completely different picture than if you take a look at this from a monthly perspective. And if you summarize it, which I've decided to do right here, you get some very interesting results. So if we're talking about the quote-unquote best setups or the setups of right now, let's take a little bit of a look. Let me put this a little bit more into frame. There we go. And let's talk about this, right? So as we're taking a look, Bitcoin as of this point looks strong on both the short term and the long term, apparently, right? And actually, if we're taking a look and we take a look at our biases for the short term, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, Link, and Athena all look pretty good right now over on multiple different time frames, mostly short term related. Over on the mid to long term, Solana still does look good, but the coins for the most part actually change around except for a Link as well. And if we're actually taking a look at the more, negative coins, at least currently, they are stating Dogecoin, XRP, and AVAX all look quite negative. Why exactly is that, and should we pay attention to this? Well, let me just explain it like this. If we're talking about these max pain liquidation points, what we're referring to is a percentage gain or loss at which a lot of people would get wrecked. And essentially, the further away such a point would be, quote unquote, the better for that. I guess that people that are doing that. So let me re-explain it. If we're taking a look, for example, in this case, on a 24-hour frame, we can see the max pain for shorts is at 304 for XRP, for example. That is 1.8% away, whereas the max pain for longs is at 297, which is just 0.45% away. Now, depending, of course, on what type of levels these are, for example, had the upside been, $2.99 instead of a little bit above $3, it could have actually been something it could inch closer towards. Why? Well, because the psychological barriers still play a very pivotal role. Like here, for example, 115,000 on the up end is actually, even though it is closer, might be way harder to get back to than 112,000.7. So in this case here for Bitcoin, there's not as clear a case on the 24 hours, but this sometimes can flip back around on a different time scale. For example, for Bitcoin on the longer term, they're actually quite equal. Over a monthly span, both of these are quite in the same spot. But that's where some other coins like XRP, for example, get way more interesting, where, shorts are basically wrecked the moment we go to $3.07, which is only like 3% away, only 9 cents, really quite close, whereas the longs would only get wrecked at 277. So if you're looking for trades, you might want to look around these numbers, play around these numbers, and for ETH, specifically 4,500 or slightly above it, in this case, you're not a perfect barrier, but hey, right, again, it's being defended by being that psychological barrier. 45.23 is where shorts would get absolutely wrecked, and on the bottom side, 42.50. Now, again, these numbers deviate a lot from time frame, also because, well, logically, the volatility here recently has been kind of nothing. I'm just taking a look at it. It's really been nothing. Then again, slowly but surely, the market has been moving upwards, like I've been telling you, right? Ethereum had some scammy wick going on a little bit earlier today because of the inflation numbers. Still, if you're wondering what the main thing that I'm watching out for is, it is going to be the FOMC numbers coming out next week. But overall, the market has been in a pretty good spot with Bitcoin still taking the key. Now, there have been new things that popped up, new opportunities that have popped up, and I found one of the most interesting numbers to actually take a look at Coinbase's premium. One fun thing that you'll notice over prolonged periods of time is this. If Coinbase has a premium, for example, this means that the difference between Bitcoin's prices on the two platforms, for example, a Binance or a general consensus price versus Coinbase here, could hint at whether US investors are exerting more buying pressure on the market than global investors. That can sometimes be quite interesting, but I wanted to match it up with a few different things that I had found. One of them being this right here. As it currently stands, by the way, guys, if you've not done it yet, make sure you go ahead and press the like button on this video. Why not? Individual investors are cashing in. Retail investors sold $700 million worth of US equities last week in their second weekly sale over the last 3 weeks. This comes after nearly 36 weeks of straight buying. As a result, the 4-week average of selling has now risen to $200 million. At the same time, institutional investors bought $1.1 billion, posting their 6th straight weekly purchase, the longest streak since the 2022 bear market. Before this streak, they had sold $19 billion over 12 weeks, and their 4-week average of purchases has now jumped to plus $1.7 billion. Wall Street is buying, while Main Street, the quote-unquote normal people, are selling. And that is actually quite interesting when you take into consideration the newer economic numbers that are coming out, and it makes you wonder, why exactly are people doing that? But if we're talking, main markets, things are painting quite a bit of a different picture than the crypto market, because crypto market is, even though the main markets are kind of crazy, it's always even crazier. So which coins have been doing the craziest things and what's going on? Well, on AVAX, I'd say, this is Avalanche, by the way, one of the top cryptocurrencies out there still today. Not that eventful of a day. A couple of coins had some crazy numbers. Mantle, actually a lot of exchange tokens have been doing well. 𝗏, KuCoin's coin. And I think just because the volume is slowly but surely picking back up, and even though the market has not been that interesting, it's a trend that's going on. Sometimes you can't fully explain the trend. People have tried to, but I still don't fully believe it. Anyway, that is for MNT. Best liquid plays for the past few weeks were exchange tokens, 𝗏, WEX token, OKX token, BNB, MNT. All of the best ones here have been doing really, really well. I've not checked the bottom ones too much, but it seems as if exchange tokens indeed, like I've said 1,000 times on this channel, just always slowly but surely move upwards. However, I think what was more interesting was AVAX. Right now, they're basically stating that $1 billion worth of AVAX at a slight discount is going to be bought by some new capitals. They're basically raising money to get 2 massive funds of $500 million in. And the thing is, as I said with Solana, as I said with a lot of other coins like Link, if you see announcements like that, thus far, it's been really profitable to just buy into them. And risk-reward wise, just like we tried to do here with the max liquidation prices, whatever, if you look at risk-reward, it just sometimes makes sense to go for the most logical and don't overthink things too much. And as it currently stands, that has indeed also been the case for AVAX here, because I don't think the opportunity will last long. For example, if we're talking about WorldCoin, Octo volume and price is trending down. It is the DAT behind WorldCoin here. With most of these DAT plays, volume matters more than the price itself, and the participants are getting smarter about pricing this info in. It will not take that long before this whole DAT wave and these treasury companies are done with their whole game. Right now, it's still extremely profitable. As I've stated over the past couple of weeks, it's the #1 most profitable thing in crypto right now, besides buying into, I'd say, the revenue-generating protocols, AVA, Pump Fund, Hyperliquid, all those are in a really, really good spot. In my opinion, mostly because they have consistent and proper buybacks, or because their protocol generates a ton of revenue, making it a coin that's kind of worth being at the top. A lot of the coins mentioned here, I don't really care about myself too much, except for perhaps Dogecoin, which indeed is getting itself their ETF very, very soon, supposedly today. But some others have said that no, it will actually not happen, 𝗷𝗔𝗔𝗐. I don't really know. I don't really care. All I said is I have actually also been buying myself more and more Dogecoin quite recently, purely for the fact that the ETFs are coming, which will most likely spread to multiple different memes. And by the way, if you're wondering about the trades over the last few days, everything is in the green right now. Every single one of them is in the green right now. Every single one of the trades. And if, by the way, you also want to trade along, there's always a link down below. The first link is the bot trading that I do. It's fully automatic, has been thus far extremely profitable. Right now, our bots are, let's take a little bit of a look. We have the 10K to a million challenge that's sitting at 42,000. It's in the minus on P&L, but it's doing good. We put 125K into some bots and they're up 50,000. We put 116,000 in some different ones. They're up 7,000. This is in coin. It's difficult to explain. It's like coin margin, so I'm earning in coins, not dollars. My main bot stack, $160,000 in. It is up 136,000. And so thus far, all the collections here have been doing pretty well. I think I deserve to quickly give this a refresh, though, because it doesn't seem right. Here we go. So now you can actually see the proper investment numbers. I was already thinking that doesn't make sense. So the coin bot stack is 223,000. There we go. Main bot stack 160. The normal bot's 126. And then we have now a new little NVIDIA bot, and I guess a pump fund bot that kind of slipped out for some reason. All of these are doing pretty freaking well here. And by the way, if you're also trading bots or you want to, right now for one more day, there's still a competition going on. You can join with the link down below. I mean, the $1 million XP trade still doing well. Our account here on Blowfin is still about $300,000 in the profit. 𝗬𝘗𝗃, we are, I don't know, basically nothing, like $1,000 in the profit or so. And over on Bybit, our new trade from yesterday is not doing too well. We're actually down ever so slightly. But for the most part, the account still is in pretty good profit, I think, on average. I don't think anything is doing really too particularly bad except for WIF, but we'll just ignore that one for right now. Yeah, things are doing good. XRP here is still 60,000 in the profit on the 1,000 we put in, and I think ETH is usually the best performer, right? But I can't find. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 63,000 in the plus, so doing pretty okay. And I'll get back to what I said earlier at the start of the video. If you look at Solana's chart here, for example, you know what I've been shouting for the past couple of months? The only thing I've been shouting is there's massive companies who are raising billions of dollars to buy SOL. All we got to do is shut up, get into our little cave, and buy SOL. That's all I've been saying. And take a look at this chart. Yes, you could have gotten wrecked a few times by buying the top because the market moved down hard. But think about it. If you had just been really consistent with it, throughout the last couple of months, it would have been really, really quite hard to lose. Because we've gone from 125 all the way towards 226, 229, something like that. Let's see. The high today was on 229. Yes, let's call it. Right? So we've been slowly but surely grinding upwards. And I keep saying the same for almost any one of these treasury company coins. Just commit. All right, maybe you're going to lose, sure, but risk-reward-wise, it just makes sense. And I've said the same for BTC, ETH, and whatever. The reason I'm up in my leverage game right now, which again, I'm not recommending you to do anything. I'm just saying the reason I am, and the reason I've been depositing significantly more money and now have millions of dollars on every single one of these platforms. I'm not sure why I missed the little S there at the end, is because I think the market is about to heat up bad, right, in a good way. Heat up bad, maybe. I don't know why I said it that way, but I think risk-reward-wise, it makes too much sense to overly commit. Of course, I keep healthy numbers, right? For example, I deposited in this case here, 550 SOL. I only put about 213 SOL, so about, I don't know, like 50K or so in the bot here. Why? Well, because I want to keep things conservative as well. Even though I'm committing, you can understand, I've already got millions of dollars trading right now. To some extent, you gotta sometimes chill it out when you're committing hard. For example, yesterday, I think I bought, let's say, maybe $700,000. No, I think it's probably more because my goal is to buy $1 million worth of XRP, but I think I split it up by buying some different things as well. So let's say we bought $1 million worth of coins yesterday, right? And it's up a little bit today. Cool, cool, cool. I still got to have some breath for in case the market does make another downturn. I mean, on WeX, you can see I put up some orders, for example. If we take a look here, scroll out a little bit. I put up some orders already for in case the market decides to move down. And of course, my bots do buy and sell as the market does come back down. So it's partially automatic. But, logically, I also do want to keep some sort of breath and some sort of stamina, some sort of motivation to not have fully committed myself in case the market does move down, while for the most part committing myself to the market moving up. Again, whenever you zoom more out for Solana, there was this one crazy wave at the start of the year, 2025, right? Basically, once the October wave hit in almost any coin, it kind of transferred over into, or I should say for utility coins, XRP, 𝗓𝗡, all those, kind of transferred over into everything, right? Everything fell off a cliff afterwards, but it's been slow but sure grind back upwards. However, Bitcoin's dominance, really when you start looking at it, hasn't really pulled a crazy rugger here just quite yet. Now, it is interesting to see, though, that the altcoin season index here is showing 67. And like I said a little bit earlier in the video, when you really start looking at how altcoins have done, I mean, here we've got ourselves the altcoin chart. This is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH. You can indeed see the market has been picking itself up, which is actually quite interesting. But more interesting to me, if I can quickly find it somewhere here, is just how much altcoins have been moving. I mean, we've seen some crazy shenanigans is going on with Mix, WorldCoin, etc. But actually, in a bad market, you don't really see this happening at all. And right now, even though everybody's calling for the top, is that not just a rotation from perhaps just this retail to the institutional hands? We're seeing from every single angle that institutions are buying at their highest point ever, while at the same time, we are seeing retail selling, retail be done. However, on some places, I guess, just like we've seen now with the Coinbase stats, that's not completely true. In this case here, it's kind of interesting how we have a negative kimchi premium here. But there's one more interesting opinion I wanted to read from Cook. The boomer rotation is happening. I warned you about this. ETH has hit maximum TradFi velocity. There's no one left to buy, and there's no more TradFi champions coming. I disagree, but sure. The TradFi bull case for ETH is basically stablecoins, and Solana is superior in every way. Smart market participants are rotating from ETH to SOL to get positioned before boomers realize what Solana is. The funny thing about this, both assets are vastly inferior to Hyperliquid. Wait until boomers learn about hype. I don't think they will this season. Next season, probably. Long post, yeah, but you get it. And you know I'm right. I'm clipping SOL bags into this momentum. Next tranche marked for sale at 250 plus, and I'm still rotating ETH into Bitcoin. You should be doing the same. Last point, 𝗕𝗏𝗲 is going to look like an idiot at the end of the cycle. I told you that too, and I'll be right. I don't make the rules, I just play the game. Thanks for reading. And if you want my honest opinion on that matter, I personally think the 𝗕𝗏𝗲 he's referring to here, by the way, is a person who is raising crazy amounts of money to buy Ethereum. I still think it just makes sense that if they're buying these massive bulks, which they are, to just follow along with it. Again, even though you may not agree with it fundamentally and think Ethereum is stupid, I don't really care about the feelings too much right now. I don't really care about what you think based on your fundamentals of the coins. I care about where money is being committed, how much is being committed, and what the next big plan is going to be. And if we're talking about my expectation, is that these funds will keep buying in now that the opportunity is glowing freaking hot, and most likely what we always say about what brings an altcoin season will happen here again, where it's large coins right now and it'll rotate into smaller and smaller coins. New companies are going to be raising for smaller and smaller coins, but like I said earlier, some coins just have a better risk reward than others. Dogecoin, really easy buy right here because of the ETFs, because of that additional pressure. BTC, Ethereum, XRP, all of these are just very easy right now. And so why am I going a little bit against what I said earlier at the video? Like, isn't these coins to watch for shorts, really? Well, indeed, even though Doge from a certain angle looks quite negative, we are forgetting that these numbers sometimes don't portray the reality of the news, let's call it. So, I mean, theoretically speaking, this might showcase that indeed this whole ETF situation is already priced in for Doge. Hey, you know what? If you're thinking that, skip those and go for the ones that are strong on every field. Like, for example, a Solana. In almost any way, Solana keeps coming out on top of top, or a Chainlink, which again keeps coming out at the top of the top and also has similar strong fundamentals, or a BNB, which strong long-term I completely agree with. On the short-term, definitely debatable. 𝗂𝘁, I've been staying away from 𝗂𝘁 actually completely. I do have my 𝗂𝘁 bots, of course, running, but I'm not really doing too much with it. There's not as much news coming out, so I can't really tell you too much. Athena on the short term indeed does look quite nice with the massive commitments to buy 𝗓𝗓, especially if things are moving the way which they are right now. And I'm going to say I have to disagree on the XRP view, but indeed, logically, on the short term, I can see where they're coming from, right? It's only if you zoom out and look at the longer term, the monthly perspective, for example, the shorts can get wrecked right here pretty quickly on one slight move up, as it's only a few percent away. 307. I mean, the thing is, the market has been so boring that 307, you can't see it perfectly. Here we go. 307 looks far away, but it isn't. Normally, this would have been hit like within a day, within a few hours, but right now it's been like forever since XRP saw some sort of volatility, and the same for Bitcoin, the same for all these. But really, when you start breaking it down, Bitcoin has seen some crazy gains over the past week or so already. So maybe, just maybe, we're being a bit overly careful right here. And we just got to break it back down to the basics and realize, hey, you know what? Most these coins have a way higher percentage chance to get the shorts wrecked as we move towards the upside. Even if not on the short term, we of course know the long-term fundamentals there already. So all I got to do is be patient, lock ourselves in. I personally just keep setting up more and more money in these bots because it makes too much sense for me. I could theoretically speaking, like I said before, also, if I had 100 SOL, sell whatever part has been added as leverage here. So 112 SOL, for example, use that as potential collateral if the market were to fall back down. I keep optimizing my strategies. I've got full-on sheets though about it. You know, if you wanted to read a little bit into it, you can check it out. Link is down below to my full-on sheet with all the bots I've opened. It's not fully updated, but I'll do my best to keep it there. And there's also a Discord link if you want to discuss strategies with people. You know what? That's about it for this crypto update. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all again in another crypto video somewhere later today. Make sure you press the like button if you haven't done it yet.